Good afternoon and welcome to Road Gateway Rotary Club. Can you guys hear me okay on Zoom? I'm getting some nods. Okay, awesome. Welcome. I'm going to ask Jenny to come up and lead us into pledge of allegiance.
Greetings, everyone. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And Cindy Randall has an inspiration for us today.
I'm not sure if this is an inspiration, but my family's going through some tough times and I saw this and it works. Take heart, defend your beliefs. Yes.
The microphone.
Okay.
You gotta hear yourself through the speakers.
Okay. Take heart, defend your beliefs, be strong, live the gospel faithfully, forge unshakable faith, remain steadfast, it is worth it.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Please be seated. We're going to introduce the guests, and we have a bunch of them, and we'll introduce in a little bit, but I'm looking around first to see, are there any visiting Rotarians in the room today? On Zoom land, I know we do have some visiting Rotarians from another country to visit us today, and introduce them in a second. But first, other guests in the room. Jenny.
I'd like to welcome my guest, Kelsey, who many of you know. She's with RCC, it's our RCC club, halfway.
Welcome, I know, yes, welcome, Chelsea. And anybody else in the room? Okay, anybody else on the room? We're gonna introduce, Kirk, sorry.
You still have Donna as a guest.
Welcome. Donna is still a guest, although she has submitted her application and should be posted very shortly. Remember, and let's see here, I know we have some student we will be introducing in a second for our service about self-award. I don't see anybody else. So I want to introduce to the club, I think, and I hope I'm pronouncing your name correct, last name correctly, Urbe, from the Rotary Club of Cozumel. And Jim Lefevre invited him to visit our club today virtually because we are considering a global grant project with their club in Cozumel to work on a community garden project. Isaac, do you want to share anything with us about that?
Cindy, I think.
Do I have to unmute him?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Cindy's gonna have to.
We'll work on trying to get you unmuted there.
All right, where are you at? Ah. It's saying absent.
Yeah, put that.
Hello, can you hear me now?
How do you do?
Can you all hear me?
Unmute all?
No.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Hello?
We can hear you on the Zoom call. The people calling in can hear you. They're just figuring out how to connect you to the,
Oh,
We just can't
yeah.
hear him maybe, or?
Okay, just make it
okay,
sign.
just hang on.
Yes, just make it a sign to me and I will.
Sorry, we're working on audio. We almost got it.
Yeah, that's.
Was our end. Sorry, I did. Try this again. Hi,
Okay,
Isaac.
I can go ahead now.
Yes, we can hear you.
Well, hello, everybody. Before anything else, thank you very much for hosting me. And thank you very much to your club for the previous donations and your interest in our programs. I am Isaac Uribe. I am 3 times president of the club. And now I am serving as international services speaker or promoter. We have an issue here with you since Jim and Jolene come to Cozumel twice or 3 times a year. We have developed a friendship. And he has shown interest and let me know that the whole club is interested in being part of a grant. We have a very beautiful project. I hope every one of you are aware. It is called the Full Green School, in which we are creating a composter, warm composter to teach the kids. This school takes care of 1,200 students. So we want to provide them. We are building now the composter. Then we are going to collect water from the rain and purify it to make it drinkable, since the school does not have drinking water available. And then we have another collecting water from rain to water our plantation. We are planting some 500 trees that the school already has, and develop a program of growing vegetables and cornfield. This is the school, the Full Green School project in Cozumel. So I've heard from Jim. Sorry, he cannot connect. He's not here on this session, but he asked me if I could explain to you, since we do have in both ends some doubts. We have some alliances and friends in other districts that want to put some money, and we do have some money saved from previous activities, and we like to know what is the reach of your club in the district, and if you wish to do the paperwork to the foundation, the Rotary Foundation. I understand Glenn Campbell is the International Service Director, but I don't see his name there. Is he a member of the Presswood Rotary Club, or is he in another club? I like to say hello to Gina Maria Acosta, the president, but I don't see her. Is she present? But I only see the face. Hello, nice meeting you. So the questions are the following. Do you have intentions to do the paperwork and apply for the grant, a global grant? We do have some partners already. We have some $10,000 from District 5870 that would like to be part of it. Then we have another 3,000 from Presswood Rotary Club in District 5810. We do have one global grant with 5810 in process, but this club in particular does want to join an effort regarding water. The other global is not water referred. So if we are together, we have those $3,000 from Presswood, and then we have District 5870, they offer $10,000. So that's 13, and we do have 2,000. That's 15,000 so far from this end, but it is not clear, since Jim left kind of in a hurry, who to contact directly and just make things clear. Did I make myself understood?
Yeah, absolutely. So I will share that Jim did bring this to our board, and we did vote that we wanted to move forward in pursuing the project. I know that there are some other clubs in District 5110 that are interested in contributing. And so we're moving forward. The plan is that we would serve as the host club for a global grant. So we would submit the paperwork. We'll have some other clubs in our district partnering in terms of contributing cash. And then if you remember last, I shared with everyone kind of the matching, the magic of the matching money, right? Through Rotary for global grants, it's almost one. So whatever we raise in our area gets matched by our district and then also by Rotary International. And so, yeah, we are moving forward. It's going to take some work on our end, to raise the money that our club will contribute. And then to also work to find other clubs in our district and in other areas who would like to help contribute to that as well. We do already have, as I said, several other partners lined up who are interested. So it should be a pretty doable project, and we're very excited to be partnering with you.
Fantastic. You know, Jim suggested in the last communication we had, he suggested to contact Rebecca Mendoza from the Rotary Foundation. We tried last week unsuccessfully, but last Monday she did call Dora Uribe, the president. She apologizes because she's busy, and we have a stand in the Ironman event, and they gave us a stand. So she's taking care of the stand, and she asked me to be here with you. So we talked to Rebecca Mendoza, and she asked us to get together. Yes, I told them I was going to attend this meeting today, and to find out what sources and how many clubs will get involved for the grant, and she will assist us. She does the Latin American clubs.
Wonderful. Well, Jim, as soon as he gets back from his trip, I think he is currently in Spain. So as soon as he gets back, we will have him get connected with you, and we'll get all the details worked out in terms of who's all on board, how we're moving forward.
Perfect, perfect. So what did you suggest? Should we just wait and until you find out? We're not in that hurry. We can just let Rebecca Mendoza know that we got in touch and you are working on it.
Yep, all right. Sounds great. Thank you, Isaac.
No, thank you, big time. Who will be doing the paperwork? Who is the Glenn Campbell will do that? We do have we don't have any experience in doing it, like applying for it. So we will be the beneficiary.
Lead on that.
Pardon?
We will take the lead on that.
All right. Okay, so we just try to find other clubs to see if they want to be part of it. And I think we should create a chat in which we put all the information. It'll be through me and Dora, the president, and Nemesio Interian is the club's foundation rep. Me
All right.
and Dora.
Yep, we're gonna have Jim Lefebvre get in touch with you as soon as he gets back, and we will work out all of those details.
Okay, perfect. So we have some time until he comes back, and then we get back together. Meanwhile, we'll be looking for other donations and other clubs that want to participate. Is that it?
Wonderful. Yes, thank you, Isaac.
No, thank you, Gina. Is that Gina speaking, right?
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
Right. Thank you, Isaac. We're gonna move on to introduce some other guests. We've got a busy program ahead, so thank you so much.
Thank you. I let you continue with your session, and we'll be in touch. Thank you very much for your time, all of you, and greetings from Cozumel.
Thank you. All right. So we also have with us today a guest from Grants Pass High School. And Lisa Looney, I'm going to let you go ahead and introduce our Service Above Self Award winner.
All right, it's my pleasure to introduce our Service Above Self winner from Grants Pass High School. And it's the last one of the year 2022. And it's Ethan Nelson. And Mr. Sarver will introduce him and give you a little breakdown on why he's our award winner. Go ahead, Bill.
Yeah, thank you, Lisa. Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for having us. As some of you may know, I work at Grants Pass High School, obviously, and there's 4 counselors here, countless teachers, secretaries, certified, classified. What I try to do is go around and get their nominations. So I talk to the secretaries who truly run the building and try to find out who would they nominate. I talk to the counselors, talk to coaches, who would they nominate. And Tracy Cobble, who's a new counselor here at the high school who moved up from the middle school, I went to her office and I said, hey, I need a nomination for Rotary. And I explained the criteria to her. And about 10 seconds later, she said, Ethan Nelson. I said, oh, okay, that was easy. She goes, wait till you meet him. I said, okay, no problem. So I called him in and kind of said, here's why I'm calling you in, because sometimes they don't know who I am and I represent this. and talked to him a teeny bit. And I said, well, you know, what do you do? And he kind of just started talking. And I said, okay. You totally qualify. Thank you very much. It was a very, very, in the job, we deal with a lot of stuff. And this is, I always say, this is like the icing on the cake when I get to do this program and work with these kind of students. So pretty busy young man. Mom and dad are here. Dad's Zooming and mom's here in my office. So always, I have to say congratulations to them first, because these kids get this way somehow. It's not by accident. But a fantastic young man. He's quite a good student, but I did explain to him about the depth and the quality of the selflessness and the service that goes beyond just padding your resume for a scholarship. And so he has that in quite a bit. I'll let him talk about it himself a little bit. I got a cheat sheet here you can look at that we sent to Lisa, but just a fantastic young man. And when I mentioned to the secretaries, I said, oh, you know, Ethan Nelson got, they're like, oh, he's such a wonderful young man. So it's, like I say, this is kind of the pleasure of my job, getting to do stuff like this. So I will let Ethan talk about just some of the things he does. And he's quite busy, as you would imagine. So I'll let him talk.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for letting me come to today. I will say that as soon as Mr. Serper called me in to interview me, he did say, there is an enormous lunch, but this year the award ceremony is just going to be on Zoom. So, but I'm happy to be here nonetheless. Yes, it's true. I am a busy young man, but I'm just happy to help out wherever I can and be of service to those who need it. I plan on attending BYU Provo after serving a 2-year mission for my church in the fall of 2025, and then my future major, I'm not entirely sure yet. Maybe something in the medical field, possibly dentistry, but we'll see. But I will say I owe a lot of this to my parents, because to make it short, they raised me well, and I appreciate it very much from them. So thanks, Mom.
So that's okay. So talk about some of your volunteerism. Yeah.
One of the larger service projects I've been a part of was just last summer, where a good friend and I, we both go to the same church together. And then what happened was they own a pear farm. And then the two of us decided to set a goal where we would go up twice a day, every other day, and just take as many pears that would eventually be shipped and donated to those in need. And so we did that, and we would get up early in the morning, we would head back, spend the day with our families, head back in the evening, pick some more pears, and then constantly just throughout the day, you're up there, you're raising your arms, you're picking the pears back and forth. And then throughout the whole venture, both of us just really realized how big of a service that was to the pear farm. And so that was a big sense of accomplishment for the two of us together. And then I will say the first service organization that I've been a part of ever since my childhood was I joined Boy Scouts when I was 8 years old. And that organization of Boy Scouts really instilled in me the desire to just help and serve wherever needed, because that's what a good person would do in situations like that. And so, yeah. And then as I went on throughout Boy Scouts, mostly, well, a big thanks to my mom. She pushed me to go apply and get the Eagle rank. And so I filled out all the requirements for that, hosted my own community service project for the Hearts with a Mission Youth Center here in Grants Pass, and then helped restore a professional look to their property. And I'm very grateful for this opportunity, and thank you for choosing me. Thank you so much, everyone.
We don't have any questions for Ethan.
Good.
Back on gallery views, we can see.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. Hello.
Anybody in the
Okay, over
room?
here.
Anybody on Zoom? No, well, thank you very much for your service to your school and to your community, and good luck with the future.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Lisa. And I hope everything goes smoothly for you.
All right, couple of announcements before we get to our program. Couple of announcements from Janie. She wanted to remind everybody that we have a December fellowship on the 10th, Saturday the 10th. If you've already signed up, we're meeting at the Glass Forge at 1:30. It's going to cost $25 if you want to make an ornament. For those of you who signed up for the Steam Distillery visit, we'll meet there at 2 p.m. We are at capacity for that event. If you signed up previously and are not going to be able to make it, or you've had a guest pull out, please let Janie know so that we know if we've got any open slots. The other thing she wanted me to remind you of was Operation Joy Christmas cards. Deadline to get your filled out cards to Janie is Thursday, December 15th. Again, if you have cards, so you're not really wanting to fill them out, you can get those to Janie before then. More information in the email. Doug, you had an announcement.
Yes, thank you. So I was hoping to go first. So we are struggling with the microphone transition into Zoom. So if you come up here to talk, please put your mouth up against this darn microphone so that the sound comes out of those speakers and then gets picked up by that microphone in the camera. We used to have a little wireless one mounted up here, but it doesn't seem to be working anymore. So now we're on to this little distance thing here. So if you come up here, you need to hear yourself in an echo through those speakers, and then you're talking loud enough. Okay, two announcements. There's a flyer on your table. It's a food drive that we're being asked to participate in. And so you're being asked to be at Grocery Outlet to help ask people that walk through the door to either purchase or donate food items for a food drive that is part of Christmas baskets and whatnot. And I didn't get all the details memorized, but anyway, that came through today on email, and then we will also send that out in the P-mail. Second thing on my notes is for our clubs and the Wednesday clubs and the Friday clubs and the Illinois Valley clubs grant program for the FORK program, which is food for kids. We are also asked to participate December 2nd, and we'll send this out in the P-mail so you can see the details. P-mail means email from the Rotary Club's database system. So we say P-mail just means an email to you. December 2nd, we'll send it out an email, and basically you're being asked to go to the food bank and help stuff boxes, which is fill a box full of the right food that's laid out, that is going to be handed out to kids in need before the Christmas break at various elementary schools, both in the county and the city. And this is something that's being organized by the FORK Club's FORK program. And then at Happy Bucks, I will also talk about part of that because I forgot something in my truck. And I'll bring that in for Happy Bucks, talk about that. So that's it.
All right. Thanks, Doug. Thank you. All right, are there any other announcements that I missed?
Well, the youth exchange, person saying, hey, don't forget youth exchange. We need interviewees December 10th at 8:45 at North Valley High School. And if anybody wants to host a couple kids, it'd be 2 girls or 2 boys anyway. We might still need a couple, but Brenda has offered, and Bobby Winters, a former club member, has offered, and Doug and Bev, of course, always do. So if anybody is interested in any of that, please, we need you as an interviewee. And I know it's the same day as our Christmas, whatever you call it, whoop-de-doo thing, which is going to be lots of fun. And I'm going to that in the afternoon. So let me know if you want to help out.
Right. All right, oh, Kirk.
Once again, there was no polio in last week in the indigenous countries, which is a good thing. I attended the Rotary Zone Institute in Salt Lake City last week, and during the session on the foundation, the representative from the LDS Church Charities went on stage and presented the Rotary Foundation for Polio Plus check of $5 million.
Wow.
Which by the Gates, matched by the Gates Foundation, that's $15 million. So we're taking it that, but we're getting back up.
That's incredible. Thank you. All right. One more quick announcement.
It's very quick. To the first speaker, my wife Sue and I will be in the neighborhood in Akmal, right next to Cozumel. Cozumel, anyway, I don't know what the procedure is to establish a visit to the actual site of the thing. We're promote it?
Yeah.
That, okay.
We'll get you connected.
Okay.
All right, thank you. All right, I'm gonna ask Judy Baxter to come up and introduce our speaker for today.
Thank you, and hi, everybody. We're gonna have to get some of those little wipey things if they make us get right up. It is my pleasure to introduce Amy Cuddy to you. She's with the Oregon Community Foundation in the regional office in Medford. And I got to know her over several years when I was at RCC in various nonprofit capacities. And she's just very gracious and very helpful and helped me with a whole lot of ideas on things that I was trying to raise money for. And I thought you might enjoy meeting her today. Just her quick bio, born and raised in Connecticut. She's been in Oregon for many years. She spent several years at the Oregon Shakespeare Festival, which we've all enjoyed a great deal. And she's been with the Oregon Community Foundation for some time too. She has 2 grown children, loves the outdoors, and she is a Yale Bulldog, having both an undergraduate and an MBA from Yale. And the best part is that I was trying to explain to her, sometimes we have trouble with PowerPoints, and she said she doesn't have a PowerPoint. So I was just overjoyed that we're just going to have a discussion with her on what she's doing and what's up with Oregon Community Foundation. Okay. Thank you.
Well, thanks, Judy. She's wishing me luck. That makes it sound like it's a tough crowd, but I'm gonna assume that was maybe just a slip. Anyway, thank you all very much for having me here today. It's great to be in person with people again after a lot of Zoom in the last few years. And I also want to thank you, Rotarians, for your service to your community. Like your Rotary, the Oregon Community Foundation is here to improve the lives of Oregonians, and we both support some of the same causes, such as programs for youth like the Dolly Parton Imagination Library and the United Rotary Help for Small Businesses after the Alameda fire. The Oregon Community Foundation has been around for 49 years. We're the state's largest foundation, working in every community in Oregon with 5 offices around the state. And as Judy said, I'm based in the Medford office and live a little bit down the road in Ashland. And we're looking forward to celebrating our 50th anniversary in 2023, coming up really soon. And we will be highlighting stories of kindness and of neighbors helping neighbors, which is a great fit with your Rotary Club. When people think of a foundation, they usually think of a private foundation with a single source of wealth, like the Ford Family Foundation in Roseburg, founded by a timber family, or the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, which was created from the success of the Microsoft founders. Those of you who are familiar with your own 4-way community foundation, hi Kate, I think you're here, know that a community foundation is a little bit of a different model than those private foundations. We're a collection of charitable funds, sort of like mini foundations within a foundation. And we work with individuals, families, businesses, and even civic groups like Rotaries to create charitable funds to support the causes that they care about. And these charitable funds give grants to nonprofits and award scholarships to students. And the funds and their priorities, how they work, what they award to, are as different as the people who created them. Some donors create funds during their lifetime and some as part of an estate plan. And these funds can enable donors to achieve multiple objectives, which of course include supporting causes they care about, but also may help them solve tax or financial planning problems, may involve their families in their givings, and create a lasting legacy. So having said all those words, how exactly does this work and what does it mean? I thought I'd share a few examples from Southern Oregon to perhaps make it a little more concrete. And the first is a story about a woman named Judy Drace. Judy was a teacher in Rogue Valley Middle and High Schools for 32 years. And after she retired and was looking around trying to decide what to spend her time and energy on, she decided to become a volunteer at the Historical Society, the Southern Oregon Historical Society. She felt strongly that people in the Rogue Valley needed to know who came before and what built the communities in the Rogue Valley. And after she passed away, she left a gift in her estate to create the Judy Drace Fund,
which supports the Southern Oregon Historical Society. So every single year, the Historical Society receives a check with Judy's name, well, not on the check, but in the letter with the check. And that was her way of giving back. Another story here locally is a woman named Margaret M. Williams, who lived in Grants Pass for many years, raised her 4 children here. They all 4 went to Grants Pass High School. She was the president of the elementary PTA when her kids were in elementary school, and just had a love of her community. After she passed away, one of her daughters, who doesn't live here anymore, lives in Eugene, decided to honor her mother by creating a scholarship fund in her name to support students from Josephine County who have an interest in public education. Margaret was very grateful for her children's good education that they received in Grants Pass, and really wanted to encourage young people to go into public education. So we now have a scholarship fund that supports kids from this community who want to go into public education. And Margaret M. Williams' daughter, who's the person who created it, serves on the committee to help select which students receive that scholarship. And lastly, I want to talk about a business. I'm not sure if any of you are familiar with the very large medical eye center in Medford. Probably some people have traveled down there, hopefully for not some terrible reason. But in any event, one time there was a woman in the waiting room at Medical Eye Center waiting for her appointment. The woman's name was Irma Klinghammer. And Irma overheard a conversation between a woman and the receptionist at the Medical Eye Center. And the woman was saying, the doctor says my son needs glasses and I can't afford it. What can I do? And the receptionist was trying to figure out how to help her. And Irma was so moved by hearing this conversation that after she passed away, she left a gift in her will that went to Medical Eye Center to help kids get glasses. Well, Medical Eye Center said, wait a minute, we're not a charitable organization, we're a business. And if we start giving ourselves money to get the glasses, we are definitely not a charitable organization. And so they transferred that fund to the Oregon Community Foundation. And now we help them find projects where kids need glasses, and their doctors at Medical Eye Center make the selection about which programs to support. So from these stories, you can see that we're working with individuals, with families, with businesses to help achieve their charitable goals and to support the issues and the communities that are most important to them. We also have nonprofits that want to be part of our investment program, and they create their own nonprofit endowment funds at the Oregon Community Foundation. Organizations that you're familiar with, like the Boys and Girls Club of the Rogue Valley and the Siskiyou Field Institute. With apologies to any accountants in the room, one of my former colleagues always used to say when someone was going to go out and talk to a group of people, remember, numbers make people numb. And so with that in mind, I'm not going to give you too many numbers, but I just wanted to share just a few quick ones to give you a sense of the size and scale of the Oregon Community Foundation. So we have more than 3,100 of these donor funds that I've just described, and there are about 300 of them in Southern Oregon. And collectively, they represent about $3.7 billion in assets that we're managing. Last year, we made grants across the state to more than 4,000 different nonprofits and gave scholarships to more than 3,000 students. So the chances are good that we've probably made a grant to whatever your favorite nonprofit is, and given a scholarship to a student in your neighborhood. In fact, last year in Josephine County, the Oregon Community Foundation awarded $1.5 million in grants to your nonprofits and scholarships to students. One of the things that's really great about being a statewide foundation, though, is that we have funds that were not created by folks in Josephine County, but that are giving grants and awarding students who are here. In fact, through the Community Foundation, there's actually a net transfer of wealth from the more urban areas of the state to the more rural places, which often is exactly the opposite of what people think happens, right? That all the money gets sucked up in Portland. Well, that's simply not true. And the reason for this is pretty simple. And that is that donors in smaller communities tend to want their funds to support their own communities, right? Well, at least some of our donors in the metro areas have created funds that support all of Oregon. So, for example, a fund created by a Portland donor, Fred Fields, to support arts and education throughout Oregon is helping with the remodel of the Grants Pass Museum of Art right now. We have a donor who's formerly from Ashland and now lives in Wilsonville and recently made a grant to the Josephine County Food Bank. And earlier this year, the Oregon Historic Trails Fund, which is supported by license plate money. If you buy a historic trails license plate, it comes into this fund for Oregon Historic Trails. And that fund is helping the Josephine County Historical Society develop a guidebook about local trails. And lastly, a grant from the Trailblazers Foundation is supporting Project Youth Plus. So this is really the beauty of being a statewide community foundation, that we can share our resources across the state. So I guess this is a long way of saying that OCF and our donors, both here locally and around Oregon, are here for Josephine County. We, of course, can't be local in every single town in Oregon, so we do rely heavily on volunteers. Much like Rotary, we are volunteer driven and believe very much in the power of volunteerism. We have about 250 volunteers in Southern Oregon who do things like help us evaluate grants or select students to receive scholarships, serve on advisory committees, a wide variety of activities. And most recently, Rotarians that you would probably all know, Hyla Lipson, Josh Welch, Chad Shriver, Steve Rowe. These are some of the folks from Josephine County who have helped us with their gifts of their volunteer time. So you may be wondering, why would somebody choose to give through the Oregon Community Foundation rather than just giving their money directly to a nonprofit? There are probably a lot of reasons for that, but one reason that I'm going to talk about is the power of our endowment. A typical OCF fund that was established in 1991, so let's say 30 years ago, and we're going to use round numbers, but the principle is the same no matter what the numbers are. So fund was established with $100,000. Over the last 30 years, it's given out $217,000 worth of grants, and the value of the corpus of the fund today is $239,000. So again, started with a $100,000 gift. It's given out 237 to the causes that the donors care about, and is now 239, and this will continue forever. So this is our model, which is to ensure that we can meet the needs of today, as well as to respond to the needs of the future. And while some donors are very prescriptive about their funds, like Judy Drace, whose fund can only support the Southern Oregon Historical Society and nothing else, some donors do leave a degree of discretion to the Oregon Community Foundation, and that allows us to tackle some important issues throughout our state in areas like education, early childhood, health and well-being, the arts, and civic engagement. In the past few years, we've used these resources to respond to the pandemic, of course, and to the 2020 fires. In addition, we're focused on economic opportunity, or the myth of meritocracy. So all of us like to believe in the American dream. But it turns out that for many, the American dream isn't really true, and that the circumstances of your birth, and in fact, your zip code, more than perhaps your own personal gumption and work ethic, will determine your future. And it turns out that it's very difficult to climb out of poverty. The gap in opportunity starts early. Nearly half of the children born in the United States are born to single parents, and no aspersions on single parents, but they simply don't have as much time because they're trying to do everything. So they don't have time for things like reading. Similarly, in Oregon, about half of the children born in Oregon are born on Medicaid, and 1 in 5 are living in poverty, which of course, as you know, affects many aspects of their lives. So foundations and other great groups like Rotaries across the country are working to close this opportunity gap to make sure that all children have an opportunity. And our research at the Oregon Community Foundation shows that in Oregon, the kids with less opportunity are understandably low income, children of color, and children in rural areas. So these are the children that we are most focused on helping. And we know that you're supporting children too, and together, of course, we can make a difference. So when Judy asked me to speak to your club, she suggested you might want to know, what is OCF? What do you do, especially in Josephine County? And she didn't say it in quite these words, but perhaps underlying it was, why should we care? So I hope I've given you a sense of who we are and what we do. And in terms of why should you care, I suppose there are a number of reasons, but I'm just going to share 3 that came to mind. First of all, because OCF and the Rotary are part of Oregon's network for good. We're in this together to make our state better. Secondly, you might want to refer a nonprofit to our grant programs or a student to our scholarship programs. And thirdly, because we may be able to help you or someone you know create your own charitable fund or your charitable legacy. So thank you so much for what you do at Rotary, and thanks for having me here today.
Yeah, does anybody have any questions? Did I, well, I was gonna say, we'll repeat the question.
Okay.
You wanna repeat?
The kids know, that they have scholarships available through you. Is it in that JCPF, what used to be called JCPF scholarship program that, kids can do once a year, or?
So the question for those, especially on Zoom, is how would a kid know that there are scholarships available through the Oregon Community Foundation? And I would say the primary way that kids know is the way they know about all scholarships, which is through their school and their school guidance counselors. And there is a state agency called OSAC. Those of you who have had kids apply for scholarships know that if you apply through OSAC, you do one application, and then that application gets shared with scholarship funds all over the state, if you fit their criteria. And we have probably, I'm going to say, over 400 funds that are connected to OSAC. So a student applies to OSAC, their application may go to, let's just say, 10 of our scholarship funds, and it might also go to some US Bank scholarship funds or to the Ford Family Foundation. And it's really a unique partnership that scholarship givers of scholarships partner with the state agency, and the state agency has the platform for students to all apply through a single application. So it's not every application for every scholarship fund. So it's really a benefit to students. It's a benefit, of course, to scholarship funders as well. And high school counselors are excellent about saying to students, if you only fill out one application, fill out this one because it will get shared so broadly. So I would say that's the primary way. Thank you for the question.
Debbie, and then if there's any questions on Zoom, make sure you raise your little hands.
Your little hand.
Your little hands.
So I may be dumb, but I do like figures. So do you know approximately what your rate of return is on your? What the cost of your investment company is?
Sure. So Debbie is saying that she does like numbers and they don't make her numb. I'll be sure to tell my former colleague that I've met someone. And then the questions were, what is our rate of return and what is our cost? So first I'll say that we report our returns net of investment costs. So they're kind of buried in there. And the goal with our funds, and these are round numbers. I'm sorry, Debbie, you said you like exact numbers, but I can get you some exact numbers. So the goal with our endowed funds, the permanently endowed ones, is that on average, we want them to make between 8 and 9% a year. Of course, there are going to be years when they're making a lot more than that. And sadly, there are years like right now when they're making less. And the reason for that 8 to 9% goal, that is our model, and it's what we historically achieve if you look over a period of time, is that we're going to grant out between 4 and 5% of the fund every year is going to go out in payouts. Approximately 2 to 3% is to grow the corpus of the fund over time, because if it's able to make $1,000 grant this year, 20 years from now, it better be making more than $1,000 grant, or you've really lost traction, right? So you want to continue to grow the corpus so that it gives out more and more. And then we charge a fee, which for most funds is going to be 1%. And so you add that all together, and that's going to get you to somewhere around 8.5%. And historically, if you look at our returns over 10, 20, 30 years, we're meeting that mark to be able to provide a continuous source of resource to nonprofits and students, and at the same time, continue to grow the funds. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. And you know approximately how much you're growing per year?
How much we're growing per year in terms of new funds, not what's happening in the stock market with the investments, but how many new funds? Oh, gosh, Debbie, I should know that off the top of my head, and I don't know it off the top of my head, and I've learned the hard way, don't guess. But we're very fortunate that we continue to have certainly more than 100 new funds come in every year from around the state, but I'm not going to guess at a more exact number, and I apologize. I'm a round numbers kind of person. Okay, yes, Doug.
So I have a sort of an assumption that the funds that you invest are invested socially consciously or environmentally consciously, or whatever the right term is for that. Is that a correct assumption, and can you speak to that?
So Doug's assumption is that we're investing our funds in socially responsible pools or environmentally responsible pools. And I will say that we have two investment pools, our main investment pool and our social impact pool. And I think what you're describing is the social impact pool, where there are environmental screens, governance screens, and so on. The social impact pool is smaller. It is not as diversified, it's newer. Of course, 50 years ago when we were founded, people weren't talking about social impact pools. And really, we ask each person who creates, or family business that creates a fund, how do you want your fund to be invested? And some people are 100% in one, 100% in the other, split between the two. I would say that the trend overall is more towards the social pool. There was a period of time until maybe a year or two ago when the social pool was consistently outperforming the main investment pool. Probably a lot of reasons for that, mostly having to do with oil and gas and what was happening with those prices. But as those prices went up, the social impact pool did worse. And typically it's not chasing the returns kind of decision, it's more the values decision. And then the second thing that is, I think, underlying your question that I'll respond to is, do we make sort of social impact investments separate from investing the money? And yes, we do. We have what are essentially impact funds, where we are kind of loaning money to pretty safe but good works that maybe can't get bank financing, which is another kind of social investment, a little bit different than the investment pool. Okay, that's probably all we have time for, right?
Yeah. All right, Lutz, you want to come up, and for those who might need to run off in a little bit, thank you for coming, but I think we still have some time for happy thoughts.
Okay, a couple of things first. I was going to do this Sergeant at Arms.
Put it up on your chin.
I was going to do this Sergeant at Arms before the elections, because Lisa and I have been talking about how the social media kinds of things left a lot to be desired. Insults have gotten very base, people thinking that if you call somebody a Trumpkin or call somebody a libtard, that you summed up everything about that individual and so on. So I was thinking about going back to a time when insults had a little bit more imagination. So I've got a couple of them for you. This is Hemingway talking about Faulkner. Actually, it's Faulkner, excuse me, talking about Hemingway. He has never been known to use a word that might send a reader to the dictionary. Hemingway responding, poor Faulkner, does he really think big emotions come from big words? George Bernard Shaw to Winston Churchill. I'm enclosing 2 tickets for the first night of my new play. Bring a friend if you have one. Churchill responds, cannot possibly attend the first night. Will attend second if there is one. Mark Twain, I could have probably come up with 20 of them from Mark Twain, but one of my favorites was, why do you sit there looking like an envelope without any address on it? Here's one for you, Kelly. He has Van Gogh's ear for music. Really wild. Groucho Marx, another person I could have gotten plenty of them from. I've had a perfectly wonderful evening, but I'm afraid this wasn't it. I mean, think of how you could use some of these instead of just calling somebody a libtard. Finally, one from Clarence Darrow. I've never killed a man, but I've read many obituaries with great pleasure. Okay, Happy Bucks, and I want to start out with Happy Bucks in honor of Doug, Val, and Jed, who are in the trenches for the homelessness thing. I'm glad we've got people in our club that are willing to do that. Notice that they all have targets on their back. Okay, anybody else? Happy Bucks. Val.
I have to run off, so. At lunch.
So I just wanted to say, my daughter, Paul, told me that she was one of the lucky ones who was able to stay on the line for 4 hours to buy Taylor Swift tickets to go to the concert in Nashville, Tennessee. So she has 6 tickets, and so I have 3 daughters, and she has 2 daughters, and so the 6 of us girls are all going back to a Taylor Swift concert on one of my granddaughter's birthday in May. So that's really exciting.
All right. Anybody else? Doug. We have coming to the camera.
Coming to camera. Camera seen it, fancy box. Fancy box full of granola bars. So part of the fork program that some of you might know what it is, might not, is Food for Kids. That's the acronym FORK. And there's sort of 2 facets. And Deb, help me out here if I forget something, because Debbie, this sort of started with Debbie's connection to the schools and the schools wanting a group of people to pick up a program that got dropped at COVID, which was providing the schools with some sort of snacks to be able to hand out to kids to take home that those are in need. And so they approached the Rotary clubs to see if we might be able to fulfill that need. And so this is what we're doing. We're providing snacks such as these and others to the schools for easily sent home snacks for kids that are in need at the end of the day or on long weekends. And so this box, I think it's $60. I don't remember the cost of it. We're going to be raising money to try to buy some more of these. Our original grant to the schools for this was $15,000. All the 4 area clubs in the district raised $15,000 for 1 year's worth of food products. But we're going to ask for donations for more of these granola bars and whatnot. So that's the other thing from the FORK program I forgot about earlier. And my Happy Bucks for that.
Debbie, I mean,
I have, in Zoom land, reporting in from Zoom land, I have Happy Bucks for a couple of reasons. One is Amy. Amy and I have been colleagues together for many, many years. And she's just an awesome resource, an awesome thought partner. One of the true leaders that I think is helping Southern Oregon continue to move forward in very positive ways. So thanks for all you do, Amy, and Oregon Community Foundation. Second happy bucks go to Lisa Kramer. Lisa Kramer and I went out to see Brenda, and Brenda gets part of this. And they took me around and we walked the enchanted property at Brenda's, and that was a phenomenal day. At the end, Lisa and I were riding back together, and I asked her if she knew any dentists that I'm trying to find toothpaste to go with the toothbrushes for the backpack program. Well, I might know somebody. So this morning I had an email from her that yes, indeed, she talked to Dr. Huddleston, I believe, and he's donating all the toothpaste for that backpack program. So thank you to Lisa for many reasons, and of course, Dr. Huddleston and Jody for all of her wonderful things that she does. So lots of happy bucks coming from Debbie. Thank you.
Peter, I see you are.
Is that me?
That's you.
Hi, I would like to buy a snack box.
Anybody else? Snack box?
Tell me about it.
Next one will make it less.
I'll take a snack box too, Lutz.
Okay, Kurt.
Quinn College Pearson has a fund at the Redwood Foundation specifically for Fort, so you can make a direct donation that way also.
Great.
As I said before, I actually attended the Rotary Zone Institute in Salt Lake City, which was great. I got to meet some old friends from my former district and get acquainted with some of the legal tutors for our district, which was really great. But I also met a representative from a NGO called Welcome.us. And it is an organization which started off as helping Afghan refugees come to the United States and has now expanded to Ukraine. And Rotary has partnered with this organization, so they're strategic partners together. And the CEO of Rotary and Secretary John Hugo, who is also from Ukraine, spoke very highly of this. Check out the website welcome.us if you have any interest of maybe helping a refugee. I recommend it very highly. And I got a few happy bucks here for that. Thank you. Kelly?
So I've got 10 happy bucks. I'm so proud of our literacy group. And we've got a bunch of us reading to elementary age kids. And it's been wonderful. And the reason I'm talking, I know people like you, Patty, want to be part of this. And so here's the thing, there's time for you to do this. They're not going to be having much school next week. So you'll be coming in after Thanksgiving, but you have to get over to the district office and fill out the form. It's free. And it just takes it's very quick. To get it done and get approved is quite quick. And Greg, in one word, you need a driver's license. Thank you. In one word, what has your experience been? Fun. Okay, Baron. Okay, and so everybody that's already done it, of which we've got 10 of us so far. Hey, Lincoln is overloaded. You're gonna, if you're interested, you're gonna email me. I'm gonna give you the list, but please, let's spread the joy, okay? Because Lincoln, for some reason, is getting all the attention. Okay. Great. Okay, this is K-5. So kindergarten through 5th grade, and you're going to see kids pretty much lower range readers. Some are emerging,
some haven't even emerged at all. Some are working on just sounds like TH or whatever. So, yes.
Anybody else? Patty? Hi.
I have $60 to give to. I have $1 here. $60 is going to Doug. However, I just want to remind everybody about Stuff the Truck on November 29th. There's a limited number of flyers here, so if you know of a company or someplace that would put this up and advertise it, please take one and help stuff the truck. By the way, it's for kids.
Anybody else?
Well, so I missed last Thursday, went to a convention in Portland for school board members, and, to sum up, you know, there was 3 outstanding, inspirational speakers, and the bottom line is, you know, Kelly talked about, you know, the 10 members volunteering, but all it really takes is one person to really see a child as another person. There was a speaker a Black man who, you know, all his contemporary peers basically are dead or in prison, but a teacher looked at him as a person and helped him. You know, he was in college and he taught him really how to read, got him on a track, got him graduated, and now he is helping 25 Atlanta at-risk students a year to go to Harvard, and for 5 years straight, they have won the debate competition at Harvard. And this is a man who otherwise would be dead or insensitive.
Well, I have happy bugs. Thank you for your report or your statements about your trip. That sounds great. And I also wanted to point out that you guys have been working with immigrants also. I participated in some meetings on that when the Ukrainians and Afghans were first starting to show up here. It's mostly in the north end of the state because we don't have any resources for the big airport here. But so I want to thank both of you for all of that. It's terrific.
Anybody else?
You asked those that were interested in the snack boxes, the rate, again, make sure I capture everybody.
Any more hands in terms of happy bucks? If you don't do happy bucks, you're gonna have to box my Nick Jagger.
We want to see it anyway.
Beers. Okay, back to you, Jim.
Thank you. All right, no, Lutz, you should appreciate this. Today is World Philosophy Day.
Oh,
Yeah. So the quote that I'm going to leave you with today is from Plato. He said, "Excellence is not a gift, but a skill that takes practice. We do not act rightly because we are excellent. In fact, we achieve excellence by acting rightly." So thank you all for a great meeting, and we will see you not next week. So next week is Thanksgiving. Don't come here because we won't be here. Well, you guys, you could come here, but there won't be a Rotary meeting next week. So don't log on to Zoom next week. Enjoy time with your family, hopefully, and a lovely meal. And we will be back the following week. Thank you all, and we'll see you later.